Hi there YouTube, welcome to Raising Vibrations with myself, Simon. Today guys, I'm going to be giving you the forecast for the up and coming planetary alignments and systems that are taking place, and kind of giving you guys a little bit of a message in terms of what you need to be looking out for, how to go about understanding what consciousness is working on at this point in time, and to really at the end of the day, share a very important point in terms of a transition that we have been going through relative to the cardinal cross that's just taken place. Okay, so you know, everybody, in April we've been having the cardinal cross, and it was, you know, a really big planetary alignment, for instance, and there was a lot of energies and frequencies that were being expressed at that stage. And we were given an opportunity to become in tune with what is happening, and that is that we are now having to action a lot of the information that we've been gathering for the last 2 years, since 2012, where our liberating and liberation consciousness has been emerging and how we've been waking up. So today, this is what I'm going to be doing. I think, in my opinion, this is probably one of the most important forecasts that I'm really going to do, because of the nature of what information's been, you know, held within the planetary systems, and it's all got to do with that picture on the left hand side over there. So as you know, every single time I do these videos, I basically create a picture on the left hand side that really clears the message, you know, for me and for everybody else out there as well. And that is that picture there. There is, in a sense, the time now to start removing all of your how do I put this across? Like, you've got to start letting the light shine from in you, okay? And that's what that picture represents over there. It's now time to start connecting to your intuition, and that being your guidance system. And we have been going for a transit for a very long time, for almost a year now, with Jupiter over there, which I'll get back into in the astrology. But this up and coming planetary alignments that are going to be taking place between now and the end of July are all focusing on one point, and that's that picture over there. It's like, it's now time to rise and raise your vibration and start emitting the light that you have, that is inside of your souls, inside of yourself, and obviously the connection to source energy, to start allowing that light to be emitted. Like, that's the message. It's like, you got to now start letting the cosmos, the universe, the divine connection, the connection to Mother Gaia, Earth, your natural self, the divine feminine, the right side of the brain, whatever language you have, ultimately is coming down to this over here. It's now starting to work from the heart and acknowledging that that's where everything exists, and acknowledging your higher self and the multidimensional self that exists. It's about bringing all of these layers into one density in the third dimension, and literally using your physical reality as a modality for your connection to yourself, so that you can start understanding what your path is, and how you are and what you are doing on Earth at this point in time. And it's about liberating the mind. It is about letting go of all the pre-existing patterns that we have invested so much of our lives into in the past. It's letting that go. It's about getting off the grid. It's about completely and utterly getting to that natural space that exists within. The best way that I can say it is natural law. Okay, we got to stop using the mind, and we've got to be using the heart as our guidance system over here. So the first thing that I would like to say is that my message is that the organic light that exists within you, you are the creation, you are source energy, you are the divine light. It all exists within. You don't need to ask somebody outside of yourself to give it to you. You don't need to do anything that reminds you that it exists outside of yourself. It's all within. And so this is what we've been doing for such a long period of time. So much internal work had to be done to purify and purge all the layers of non-truth that exist in our reality. You've had to purge the dualism. You've had to purge the nonsense, the noise, the rubbish that has been projected onto you, and now to let it go and to try and work through it, and to let your inner self, your guidance system, your intuition, your knowing be what allows you to understand what is right and wrong during this period of time, during this age of information. So my first sort of like I said, that message, that picture over there captivates it, okay? To completely and utterly let the inner guidance system work for you. Right, so now I'm going to go into the astrology, and I'm going to be talking about two aspects that are really, really key to this point over here. So I'm going to do that right now for you guys, okay? So let's go over to there. Right, everyone. Okay, so the first thing that I would like to speak about is what I've written on the chart over here. Now, the first thing to do is to acknowledge the fact that astrology is a symbol of languages. Okay, it's a language that has symbols attached to it, and these symbols reflect to us aspects of nature. Okay, there's a difference between the astrology of the past, the non-truth layered stuff that's on us, okay, and the truth, the language that is the universal language that is being presented in. Okay, so the first thing to understand here is that the base note of all of everything that is happening in the world that is taking place right now, the base note, the bottom line, the behind everything, is that Pluto in Capricorn, right at the top of the chart where I've written outside authority. That is exactly what's taking place. That is the base note. That is where all of our unconscious emotional securities, okay, in other words, what we have invested into our lives, okay, in the past, that's what Pluto is changing. It's transmuting it. It's going like this and saying, no longer are these serving you anymore. You need to redefine your reality. Okay, Capricorn is reality. It is the physical structure of our Earth. That is what the symbolic representation of Capricorn represents. So when you have Pluto and you have Capricorn, it is destroying outmoded definitions, realities that are not working for us, the corruption in the government, because the government is a system. Okay, all of that stuff, that's the base note. That's what's happening at the back of everything. Okay, right. So that's really important to understand, because these messages of Pluto and Capricorn are representing that. That's what everything's changing on the background. Okay, so our first thing is that when we look outside of ourselves, okay, what we're going to be seeing is the noise, is the trauma, is the fear, is all the things that are being destroyed from us, that are being removed from us. Everything that is outside in your reality is being changed. So when you look outside of yourself and you see the noise, you see the distortions, you see the problems, you see the damage, you freak out, or you get sad, you get fearful, you go, what's going on? The world is going to you know, it's ending. Okay, that's a Pluto story. So what is the purpose of this whole experience then, if Pluto is doing that and we as humanity have to experience that, right? The outside authority. Well, the first thing is that we got to stop putting our authority outside of ourselves. So in other words, we got to remove the untruths that have existed through man-made religion, okay, that have been created in order for them to put you into a space where you need to believe that there is something outside of yourself that needs to make a choice for you. So it's about removing that outside authority, understanding that you are your own boss, you are an individuated authority, you have your own sovereignty, okay? It's about acknowledging that, right? Then we have Saturn in Scorpio, okay? Now Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, so all the structures is in the sign Scorpio, which is exactly the ruler of Pluto. So they're the same symbols, they're the same archetypes, okay? They're the same reflections of energy. So what that symbolism is telling us is that the truth that you're seeing outside of yourself is so distorted that the only place that you can actually find truth is within yourself. That's the only place you'll find comfort. That's the only place you will find security. And of course, it is absolutely necessary to understand that process. Because if you look outside of yourself and everything that you see is just distortion, okay? And then you look within, you go, okay, I know where I am. But if you constantly keep on looking outside of yourself for answers and for information and so on and so forth, then you're just going to get inundated with lies that are not a reflection of your true inner self. So as I'm having this conversation with you right now, you are having to apply your discernment. Is my information correct? Is my information organic? Am I leading you in the direction of trying to understand what truth is? These are the type of questions that you need to be asking yourself in that way. So my own truth, my own personal truth, is to say, I'm giving this information out over here so that you can become more aware of your inner security, so that you stop looking outside of yourself, that you look within. Okay? Then we have Chiron in Pisces, right? So Chiron is a very simple archetype within our consciousness. It correlates to a rejection of ourselves, okay? And then through that, a deep emotional wounding, okay? Now, as an example, just really, really quickly, what Chiron represents, other than what I've just explained right now, is that when we are babies, okay, there is an aspect of ourselves that we are inherently different to what our environment actually can have or facilitates. But because we are babies and we can't express in words what is something about ourselves that we don't like about our environment, we land in a situation where we have to reject an aspect of ourselves in order for us to live, to survive, okay? So we grow up even up to a point where we are actually completely unaware of this emotional rejection because it's so far deeply entrenched in our consciousness that we didn't realize that this was something that was okay. So what happens with Chiron is that within our lives, it's an emotional energizer. It's like an antenna of emotion, okay, that we can pick up on sensitivities, and that sensitivity correlates specifically to us. We know deep down inside that we have this feeling, but we don't know how to understand it or how to express it. So Chiron in Pisces correlates on a global level to the spiritual distortion and disconnect that we are unaware and ununderstanding of how to integrate into our lives. So what we are experiencing right now, as in this present moment in time, within this present moment of reality in itself, is that our external authority, Pluto, outdated, okay? We have put so much of it invested into that, okay? The information has been so distorted and it led us astray to abandon our spiritual healing, but we didn't know it existed in the first place because we were sleeping to that. And Saturn in Scorpio is coming along and saying, okay, guys, now we're going to actually find the depths of where it lurks. And we're going to have to take responsibility for that. Okay? Now, right at the bottom, I've got their Jupiter in Cancer. Now, what I want to show you guys is that those three signs, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, are all water elements that correlate to spirit. Okay? Pisces is the connectivity between this world and multi-dimensions. That's why the picture looks like two circles and a line between it. Cancer, the ego, the archetype of the self-image, correlates to the identity you use in this multi-lifetime story, okay? And it correlates to our home, it correlates to our ego. And then Scorpio correlates to the depths, our soul, okay? Life and death, karma, etc. So they relate to our connection to spirit. That is our spirit consciousness. So can you see that there's a trine, okay? It's a triangle between Saturn, Chiron, and Jupiter. So what we're being asked to do is discern from what is outside of ourselves and what is inside of ourselves so that we can come to the truth, okay? The bottom line, Scorpio, okay? And also repair our healing, our spiritual healing, by being extremely sensitive and emotionally sensitive to all the distortions. And this plays out as you might find yourself listening to sound that is really, really annoying. It freaks you out. It stresses you out. Okay? You might reacting to foods that you're eating. All of these things, these emotional current spiritual healings correlates to the sensitivities of your environment, and then reflecting to you the inner security to make the changes, to let go of non-organic food, to let go of processed food, to let go of all the stuff that is not good for your body, okay? And then as you do that, you liberate, you let go, you free yourself, okay, from the distortions. Uranus in Aries, okay? Uranus is the freeing factor, it's the liberating factor. It's like you're taking a scope, you're looking at something, and then you're changing it, and you're looking at it in a different way, okay? And in Aries, of course, the self, right? So we are liberating ourselves through finding what is true for us, okay? Asking questions, getting down and dirty with the truth of it, accepting it, realizing, letting go of the structures that are existing in your life at this point in time. If it's not working for you, you have to start to let go, and you need to develop inner security more than anything else. It's the biggest thing I've written over there, inner security, completely. You need to know that everything will be okay. You need to know that what you know is your truth in that sense, okay? And then your spiritual healing will come. Allow that trine to work. So this is the base note. This is what is happening. This is how we are transitioning. This is how we are understanding ourselves in relation to our reality. So inner security found with truth and being sensitive to your environment, paying attention to what your body is telling you, okay? Acknowledging this understanding. and letting go of the external authorities. Don't look outside of yourself for the answers, because they're not going to be there. You have to develop the connection to spirits inside of yourself. You need to be realizing that the source of everything exists within you. The light is within you. Okay, you don't have to go and get it somewhere. It exists within you. You've got to develop that self. You've got to go so deep within yourself to acknowledge where it is that you are, your inner authority, your strength. Okay, and that is the first sort of step. This is the message in this this paradigm over here, the shift. Okay, so trine, and this chart is relative to now. This chart is relative to right now at this point in time. So as we move into the 8th of June this month, we will be working with Mercury going retrograde, which I'll explain right now. And then if I'm not mistaken, somewhere on the 13th of June, there will be a full moon in Sagittarius, okay? And of course, right at the bottom, again, inner security, exclamation mark. I would put 1,000 exclamation marks there if I wanted to, and to just stress the point, okay? So this is the astrology chart for sort of from June, for June. And this is the message, okay? This is the message. This is what the zodiac is pointing to. Remember, the zodiac cannot enact life. The information in astrology cannot create it. We do. We have free choice. But it is most certainly vibrating a frequency that allows us to become more in tune with the way that the universe works in our reality, in our physical reality. So it's like a guidance system. But all we do is we look to it to reflect back is what is in us again, okay? So the first thing that I want to do is that since the 22nd of May up until the 22nd of June, we will be experiencing the big flashlight, the sun, okay, the awareness factor, okay, in the sky, in the constellation Gemini. So we are collecting information, we are gathering information, we are looking, we're being curious, we're observing. This is what that represents, okay? And we are conversing, we're having a discussion, we're opening up to opinions and thoughts and ideas, okay? But within ourselves, we're having our conversation with ourselves, okay? Then Mercury, right? So there is the questions. Mercury has been in Gemini for almost a month and will be moving into the sign Cancer, okay? So in order to really understand the picture that I'm trying to create over here, okay, I first have to go back a little bit and explain what has been happening for the last year with Jupiter in Cancer, okay? Now, in this astrology chart, if you look at where I said inner security, the sign that looks like a 4 is Jupiter, and it has been in the sign Cancer for the last year, like I've said, okay? But if you just go a little bit up and you see where the 4 is, just on where the green, right, like the green coloring, and then there's a 4 over there, right? Just above where the sign Cancer is and everything. Can you see that there's loads of like lines being attached to that symbolism, that Jupiter? Well, the reason why that's the case is because Jupiter in Cancer has been telling us that we are birthing spiritually a new consciousness that is about taking care of Mother Earth. And as we are an extension of Mother Earth, as we are organic beings, then we need to be taking care of ourselves, our natural bodies, our natural who we are. We are birthing a new image, literally. So Jupiter correlates to natural law, to nature, okay? To the right brain function, to our intuition, okay? What we know our truth to be, not somebody else's, not other information that exists outside of ourselves, but our truth, okay? And it's in the sign Cancer, and Cancer correlates specifically to the home, okay? And in our mum and dad will give us a sense of emotional understanding, and the dad will give us our conditioning understanding. And it doesn't necessarily be like that. The dad can play the role of the nurturer, etc., etc. But the point I'm trying to make is that our conditioning, our self-identity is in Cancer archetype, in the actual zodiac itself. It reflects that. It is our ego. So when our natural selves, Jupiter, is in Cancer, and we have been doing that transit for the last year, we have been focusing intensely on rectifying and re-establishing the connection to our intuitive selves, and establishing a connection to our source, the power, the light that exists within, not elsewhere, not through chakras, not through any of the sort, but within. You are the divine creation, okay? Your sovereignty is there. You are already a high dimensional spiritual being. You don't need it to be confirmed to you in terms of like outside spiritual practices or new age movements, for instance. It is just literally within. So this message of this full moon, okay, is now happening like this. The full moon, right, which is in Sagittarius, okay, will correlate, because the moon is the same archetype as Cancer, okay, will correlate specifically to letting go of all the outdated systems and understandings that are associated with what you thought the truth was, and realign it with your personal truth. Okay, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is that Mercury, right, which is the questions, is the mind, will be moving into the constellation Cancer. Okay, now this is the synchronicities. These are the synchronicities. Whenever you're looking at life and you're trying to understand what is my path or where do I go, it is about acknowledging the synchronicities that exist in your reality, because that's the only way the universe works. Okay, so Mercury moves into Cancer, and then literally on the 8th of June it goes retrograde. And retrograde simply means this, okay? For the time between Mercury is direct, which will usually about 4 months, okay? So for 4 months, when Mercury is direct, the energy of consciousness is moving outward. In other words, we are gathering information relative to the themes we are experiencing in our lives. What themes are we experiencing? What is constantly coming up for us in our reality that we need to work through? So Mercury will do this for 4 months, and then it will move into the idea of retrograde motion. And so what happens during this period of time is that we kind of go on holiday, okay? Mentally, the left brain function, the gathering logical linear mind, goes into a sleep mode where it takes all this information and it shoves it into the right brain, okay? And that's where we intuitively understand Jupiter, right brain creative function, no limitations, no linear thought processes. It dumps it all into the right side of our brain. And that's when we creatively and intuitively understand the nature of what it is that we were getting, what it is that we were gathering, what it is that we were processing mentally, Mercury. So when Mercury goes retrograde, it dumps all the information into the right brain. So I'd like to give you an example of what I mean by this in our real lives. You will study for a test, linear logical left brain Mercury gathering information. And then you will kind of like, in a sense, intuit the information when you write it, when you do the test, you recall it. So all the information gets processed when you're sleeping, processed when you're doing stuff, and then it gets dumped into the right brain, and then you write the exam or whatever through an intuition of an inner knowing. So Mercury retrograde going into Cancer, the same sign as where Jupiter is, and the same theme, so synchronicity, is telling us that for the next month, okay, we need to chill out, okay, and ask questions within ourselves about what we want to do, what it is that we want to, where is our connection, whatever the theme is in your life that you are searching for, that you're trying to understand, right? Ask those questions inwardly, not outwardly, and wait for your soul or your higher self to give you the information. And how you do that on the physical plane, on the third dimension, is that it comes through as an insight. It comes through as an inner knowing. And the more that you acknowledge and understand that intuitive sense of knowing that only you know, but it's very difficult to explain to somebody else, okay? When you get to that space and you start developing that connection, then you've got the message of what is happening for the next month. Is that the full moon in Sag, Jupiter, Cancer, is that we are intuiting, we are becoming more connected to the divine feminine. We are letting go of the patriarchal conditionings of man-made distortions, okay? Right? We're letting go of watching endless, mindless television, okay, that has no benefit to us, that is doing that. We're connecting to Earth, we're connecting to ourselves and what our truth is. And that being really, really important because it's a liberating factor at this point in time. So at the end of the day, the bottom line message over here is that as you start to look outside of yourself, as the frequency of the noise, as the frequency of the madness starts to build up outside of you, and you look outside of yourself and say, oh my God, what's going on? You have to learn that intuitive truth that exists within yourself and have that inner security to know that everything will be okay. But when I say okay, I don't mean like just let everything happen to you and be passive. I mean, become aware of what your truth is and speak it. Live your truth. Understand it. in that sense, okay? But you will have this period of time where you'll connect to that space. So I'm really, really inviting everybody during this period of time to really try and let the idea of organic light be your message, be your mission, be yourself in that sense. So I just wanted to let you guys know quickly that the Vesica Pisces, when I was looking for this, when I was actually intuitively being guided to get this image over here, it really captivated what I've just been trying to say in a very small period, okay? The sun and the moon, which is the day and night, it was the contrast between the reflection and the awareness, and then the reflection and the awareness. So you go out in the day, you experience life, and you come back and you reflect it through talking about it. You come back out again, etc., etc. Right, so the Vesica Pisces over here, the sun, the day, is in Mercury, okay, Gemini, okay? The moon on a full moon will be happening, right, on the 13th of June in Sagittarius. So you have Gemini and Sagittarius as the two archetypes, the polarities, asking questions and finding intuition, getting intuition by asking questions. That's how you do it. That is what is happening at this point in time, okay? The day, the sun, the light is saying ask questions within and then reflect back on what you get. What does it make you feel like? What is your heart telling you? What is your intuition telling you? So that you can become more aware of yourself and then integrate that into reality. So the sun, the day, ask the questions inwardly. Allow the moon and your intuition to guide you to more of what it is that you want to know, so that you can have more connection to yourself and then integrate it into reality, like I just said. And that's what that imagery over there explains completely. All right? So I hope I've really captivated that information in that sense for everybody. All right, guys, let me just have a look. Day, exactly, night, reality, and self, integrating it all there so that you have that picture. You have that understanding that you can send out the frequencies of pure white, divine, undistorted energy, the noise that is existing within us. Purify yourself. Eat organic food. Think organic. Nurture the self. Think about your community. Think about humanity. Connect yourself to Mother Earth. Constantly have her in your mind, etc., etc. Think about Mother Gaia in that sense. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go back to my information again, and I'll see you guys very shortly. Hi, everyone. All right, guys, so I really hope that forecast and message was insightful and brought you a sense of direction and inner knowing and what it is that you need to be looking for within the next month, and that there is a sense of groundedness that needs to be taking place as well, and that there was information in there that kind of like allows you to start becoming awake and aware of what it is that is actually happening in our reality at this point in time, and to live the organic self, to live by the heart chakra, to understand you are source energy, that you're here to be creators, okay? And that when you tap into that space and you don't allow false religions and new age movements and all that type of stuff to attract you, but that you are your own power source, and that when you give that to yourself, you free yourself of that energy in that sense. Does it make sense? So that you can encapsulate that picture that I've got over there, so that you can connect to the universe and the world, the multidimensional self that you are. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the content and liked the stuff that I did, check out my YouTube channel as well, and hit the like and subscribe button. And of course, if you're interested in knowing or working with me as an astrologer and understanding how this actually works within your own personal chart and astrology, please write to me. I've got loads and loads of people that have been writing to me recently with regards to sessions, so I've been super busy on that. A couple of updates as well with regards to the work that I've been doing. I haven't been actually creating many videos in terms of information, and that's only because I have been working with lots of souls that are seeking this type of like where to look within their own selves, because at the end of the day I'm just acting as a mirror. You know, I've been working with them, and so at this point in time I have got a couple of slots open, so definitely book your reading with me and understand more of who you are through that process. Check out my site, simonforster.com. All the information is there for everybody. I also write on Wake Up World as well, some articles, so if you go check them out under the esoteric section. And what else do I have to say? No, not much, to be honest. Yeah, that's it. I think that's what I have to say today, guys. Thank you very much for listening and taking the time to hear what I have to say. And if you enjoyed the content, like I said, share the stuff as well, and really try and get the message out there during this period of time to connect to the inner self, to understand who you are, to allow your inner source to be the guidance system throughout this time over here. All right? Okay, guys, thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.